Contrary to a lot of popular advice on giving out and sharing content to build your own online coaching or consulting or course business, you can give away too much for free. And what we're going to talk about today is when that happens, how to avoid that, and what to do instead. Right? Because one of the most common concerns I get from my students and clients is, how do I know how or when I'm giving away too much great content for free and no one ends up wanting to work with me? So here's the fine line. If you want to give as much value as possible, great. I'm definitely going to share with you how to do that. However, what you have to be aware of is how much free content is helpful and how much it's not, and at what point it becomes not helpful and overwhelming. And that's the way I want you to think about it. We're not trying to pull back and give less value. I mean, if you see my videos, my blog articles, if you're on my email list and get my emails, you know, I have no fear of giving tons and tons of value for free, and I highly encourage you to do it. However, what you do want to think through is how you do it. And like I said, the way to think about it, the reframe is, how much content can I give to be helpful versus how much is too much for free that's going to be overwhelming. That's the fine line. That's kind of the benchmark that you want to be using. So let's talk about that a little bit more so that you can apply this for yourself. Now, what is the point of free content? It's to give massive amounts of value. It's to grow your audience, and it's to build your trust, your credibility, your brand recognition, so that people are able to find you, people are able to build that relationship with you, and ultimately buy from you. Now, of course, there are going to be a lot of people who just love your free content and never buy from you, and that's completely fine. They are more than welcome to enjoy your free content. But your content's going to be good for them no matter what. No matter if you give so much or just enough, or it really, they're going to enjoy your free content. What we're focused on is the free content that is the best amount of value for people who are very likely going to become potential clients for you. Now, when you think about it that way, let's talk a little bit more about what your free content needs to do, right? It needs to do a few things. It needs to first create that belief that the result that they want, the result that you can help them with, is possible for them. So let me give you a few examples. Maybe if you are a health coach, right? A lot of your clients might think, look, I can't lose this weight because I have a certain body type, or I just love food too much, or I hate working out. And that's an ingrained belief that they have, where I've tried all of these things and it hasn't worked for me. And so what your content needs to do is, and again, this applies for any industry, by the way, I'm just using a few examples that come to mind. When you do that, what you have to really be thinking through is, okay, what can I share to help create that belief for my audience, my potential clients? And there's so many different ways that you can do that. You can share examples, you can share explanations for why other things haven't worked, dispelling myths, right? Like if you think you have a certain body type and you can't lose weight, that's wrong because of this. If you've tried all these other diets and they haven't worked to help you lose weight, it's because of this. So really explaining and showing those different ways that I just shared for how to create actual belief in that person's mind. So that's a great way to be sharing free content, and it can be highly, highly valuable. Now, another way to share great free content is something that gives your audience what I like to call a quick win. And what I mean by that is something that they can use and they can implement really quickly and go off and see a win. And this can be a recipe, if we're sticking with the health coaching example. It can be a quick tip, it can be a script, it can be a list of things to do, a workout, it can be really something, any of those things and more. That is, the key is easy to consume, right? It doesn't take them hours to read it, and easy to use, so that they don't have to really get themselves psyched up to go off and use it. And what I mean by that is, for example, I mean, I give so much free content, but a free PDF that I share is a 15-second script to get your first paying client. And so you can see it fits all the criteria. It's a very quick script. It's easy to implement. It doesn't require you to have a ton of existing stuff going on in your business, like a website or email funnels or anything like that. It's for when you're just starting out, and it works, right? It may or may not work for the first person you talk to, but if you try it with a handful of people, it will very likely get you some awesome results. And so what does that do? It gives your potential client a taste of, oh, wow, this is what it's like to work with this person. I used this, it was easy, it was fun, and oh, wow, it worked and it helped me get this result. And so what I want you to be thinking about is, what are some quick wins that you can be sharing with your audience? It can take the form of a PDF, an email, a video, a blog post, a live stream, or all of those formats. The format doesn't matter. What matters is what you're sharing in the content. You can be sharing many quick wins. I mean, if you look at my YouTube channel, right? So many of my videos are quick wins. I mean, I was just looking at another one before I hopped on to share this video with you, one of my past videos about how to handle the I can't afford it sales objection, right? So there are so many things that you can be talking about. That's just like a quick script or something that gives your client a breakthrough, an aha, that has them say, oh, that worked. Okay, now you've got my attention. So you really want to be thinking that. Now, another place where your free content comes in is really helping teach your potential clients the value and the effectiveness of your content, your system, your paid content. Right? And so what does that look like? You can be sharing small pieces of the content that you share with your clients. You can be sharing insights, ahas, breakdowns, why your system is effective when other systems aren't as effective, why your system is faster, better, less painless, any or all of those. You can be sharing how you developed your system. You can be sharing the details behind it. You can be sharing case studies of people you've helped, even if it's for free, or yourself for how you did all of that. You can be sharing a small tip that really shows, hey, this is how it fits into why my system is so effective. Right? And again, the best examples to think about are if you look at, for example, my YouTube channel, look at my videos. They definitely fall into one or more of these buckets. And so what I want you to notice is we've got these three main buckets, right? Of the type of content share that creates belief. And we've talked about all the different ways to do that. And there are so many. We've talked about quick wins, and then we've talked about teaching the value and the effectiveness of your content, your paid content, your system, your coaching. That's the type of stuff that your free content should be doing. And that can include, for example, encouraging your potential clients, sharing what's possible. That falls under teaching the value of your system, like what you had to go through yourself to develop it, right? What it's like not having that support, not having that system, all of those things. Now, what I want you to notice is that even though you can give quick tips, quick wins, recipes, lists, all of that, what's not in here, right? What's not in here is like a list, a 50-page list or book or 3-hour video on something related to what it is that you do, or something that would be massively helpful to your potential clients, but would take them hours to understand and to implement. We absolutely want to avoid that. And here's the thing. It's not about trying to hold back on the value, because the truth is, at the end of the day, why is someone hiring you for coaching, consulting, or your course? Yes, they want your information, but they want it packaged in a certain way. They want it packaged in a way that's easy for them to follow, really step by step. That's the most efficient, concise way for them to consume it. They very possibly want to get your support, to get your feedback, to get your eyes on their specific situation, for you to just say, hey, this is what you need to do. I've been through this. This is what you need to do, for maybe some accountability, to have something tangible to follow. All of those things, no matter how much content you give away for free, that's not the nature of free content, right? Like for my YouTube videos, for example, we'll just continue using me as an example because you can see it right here. I've got some epic courses that are everything I just described free content should be. I'm not afraid to give tons of free content because even with all of that, there's still way more in my courses, plus all of the things that I mentioned that it's just not possible to give for free. You just can't, you can't get my team's support for free, or coaching or accountability. You can't get the step-by-step and everything organized. This is exactly what you do when, here are the specific situations, all of that. That's just not the nature of free content. And so that's not something you have to worry about. What you also have to think about is, think about how long you've been doing what it is that you do, how long it took you to build that experience, that knowledge, all of those things. It is basically impossible to share all of that, even if you share free content consistently for years. Again, using myself as an example, I have consistently been sharing live streams, videos, blogs, emails, all of that for, at this point, going on, I believe, 6 years in this business, right? And it's still not even a fraction of what I share in my courses and in my coaching. That's the truth. And so it's the same for you as well. And it's not because I'm holding back, it's because there's just so much more, right? And so it's not about holding back on value. I want to make that very clear. What it is about is not overwhelming your potential clients with so much information that they think, oh, you know what, I've got enough, I'm going to go try this on my own, but then this is too overwhelming, I'll put it off until some other day, and then they never get around to it. And what happens then? They don't get any quick wins, they don't build any belief, they don't see the possibility of what they want, and of course they don't end up hiring you to help them actually get the result that they want. So there's no win. The only win is to your ego, maybe, where you're like, oh, I feel so good because I'm giving quote unquote so much value. But what really is value? It's something that actually impacts the person receiving it. And if you're giving just a whole bunch of content that feels valuable because of, maybe other advice that you've heard, but it's not really having an impact on someone because they're just so overwhelmed by it, they're not even bothering to consume it, much less use it, that's not value. All right. And so what you want to be thinking about is, like I said, that fine line. Is this going to be too overwhelming? So let me give you some examples. So we've been using health coaching as an example. So we'll use another one. So with health coaching, what might be too much is if you shared, for example, a 2-week plan to follow for free. That could be really overwhelming. I might try a free recipe, right? Just for fun. And if that's what I'm into, I might try a free workout. But if you're giving me a 2-week plan that I have to follow every single day, it's a very big change from what I do now. It's a bit too overwhelming. I'm gonna look at it and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. But then life comes up. Right? That's why you hire a coach or follow a course or any of those things, so that you have that accountability. You're eased into it as well. That's another piece. And so that's one example. Another example is for me personally. All this value I give, something I wouldn't share most likely, never say never, right? I wouldn't share most likely is like a step-by-step list of every single slide for a webinar. And the reason for that is not because I don't want to give value. It's because there's so much more behind it. It's not just like, oh, put this here and when. You have to understand how you're positioning your marketing, what you're explaining to a potential client who's watching the webinar, and how that leads into a sale versus just, okay, fill out this script. I mean, I have a whole course on that because there's so much there. So it would be irresponsible of me to really put that out, because then you might follow the script. Well, first of all, 99.9% of people won't follow the script because it's so overwhelming. But even if you did, you might be thinking, okay, I followed the script and it didn't work for me. And then you would be discouraged, right? Without understanding the why behind why it didn't work and how to actually use that in the right way. So those are just 2 examples. I mean, another one that so many people can relate to is with career coaching, right? You and I know that it's not just about updating your resume. Right? So if I said, okay, here's a super in-depth 50-page article on how to update your resume and tips for modifying and customizing it for the company that you want to apply to. First of all, that would be so overwhelming. And I know this because one of the business I started years ago was a career coaching business, and I did like a 50-page PDF, and none of my friends and family who were super interested in what I had to share ever read it because it was just too overwhelming. And you and I both know there's so much more to getting a job than just updating your resume, right? And so that wouldn't be really helping your audience, your potential clients at all. And so what that means is really reframing the way you think about value so that you give lots and lots of value. You never give value out of a place of fear of, oh, am I giving too much? No, you just know in terms of your free content what you're going to give that's going to help and actually be of value in terms of having an impact, making a difference like we just talked about, versus feeding your ego, being like, oh, I did so good, right? I gave all this free stuff and hopefully someone reads a lot of it and ends up buying from me. No, you're not doing your job as a content creator, a coach, a course creator, any of those, to really do what your free value content is supposed to do. So that's how you want to think about it. It's not about, am I giving too much or too little? It's about, is it actually creating an impact and the kind of impact that free content is meant to create, versus is it just too overwhelming? That's the question you want to be thinking through for every piece of content, so that you never have to worry again about, am I giving away too much for free? That's not going to be an issue. All right. So if you found that video helpful, I do have another really great video for you now that you've started thinking about your free content and what you want to share and what not, on how to create endless amounts of content and never run out of content to share. It's the same strategies and principles I myself have used to create endless amounts of content consistently on my YouTube channel, blogs, emails, live streams for the past 5 to 6 years. And I'm still going strong, lots to share with you. And so definitely check out that video. It's either on the screen and or linked in the comments and description below for you. And the second gift I have for you is a great free PDF on the blueprint for building a 6-figure online coaching business. So from A to Z, how to do it in a way that allows you to replace your income before you leave your job, and the top 3 mistakes to avoid when you're doing this that I see so many new coaches making. So if that's the kind of business you want to build and that's the goal you want to achieve, make sure you check out that PDF. It's linked again either on the screen and or in the comments and description below. So make sure you check that out, and then let me know in the comments before you go what your biggest takeaway was from this video. I would love to hear from you because there is so much not great advice out there about what you should be sharing in your free content, and I absolutely want you to share as much value as possible and do it in a way that actually helps your audience and helps you make more sales, so it creates a massive win-win. All right, that's it for today. Thanks so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.